Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Mitchell, and today I'm sharing how I turned my life around after years of financial abuse. Trust me, you'll want to stick around to hear how this ends. Honey, I need some money for groceries this week. I barely looked at Jimmy as he lounged on our leather couch, the same one he spent $5,000 on without consulting me. Didn't I just give you money last week? What happened to that? He asked, eyes still glued to his phone. That was for utilities, Jimmy, I reminded him. You know I track every penny in the spreadsheet you make me keep. Fine, he sighed, tossing his wallet onto the coffee table. Take $100 and keep the receipts. This was my life for 4 years. I had given up a 6-figure marketing career because Jimmy insisted that a wife's place was in the home. Funny how managing the home meant groveling for necessities while he spent lavishly on golf clubs and business dinners. One afternoon, Linda, Jimmy's sister, barged into the house, waving her hand adorned with a massive diamond ring. Jennifer, you won't believe it. Derek finally proposed. She squealed. We're having a destination wedding in the Hamptons, and Jimmy, you have to help me plan it. Anything for my baby sister, Jimmy grinned, already reaching for his checkbook. I sat silently, wearing the same jeans I'd had for 2 years, remembering how Jimmy lectured me about wasting money when I asked for new work clothes. Later, at Emma's boutique, a rare refuge, I vented. Emma, this is insane. I used to lead marketing campaigns. Now I need permission to buy shampoo. You don't need to live like this, Jennifer, Emma said, her voice low. It's financial abuse. But he controls everything, I whispered. I don't even have access to my old savings. At one of Jimmy's company events, Mark, his business partner, pulled me aside. Mrs. Mitchell, he began hesitantly. I hate seeing how he treats you. The way he handles the finances, it's not right. What do you mean? I pressed. Mark shook his head. Just keep your eyes open. A week later, at dinner with Jimmy's family, his father leaned in. Sweetheart, you remind me of Jimmy's mother. She gave up everything for this family. That's just how things are done. Jimmy beamed. Dad, Jennifer doesn't need to work. I provide everything she needs. Speaking of providing, Linda chimed in, Jimmy, I need help with the wedding vendors. The budget's around $100,000. Of course, anything for my sister's perfect day, Jimmy said, flashing his new Rolex. My hands trembled as I gripped my water glass. I thought about how I had returned a $25 book last week because Jimmy deemed it non-essential. But they had no idea what was coming. The breaking point came during another argument about money. You need to look presentable for my sister's wedding, Jimmy said, scrolling through wedding plans on his phone. I was thinking of buying a dress from Emma's boutique. It's just $50. Jimmy's head snapped up. $50? For a dress? Are you insane? It's a $100,000 wedding, Jimmy. I can't wear the same dress I've worn to every event for 2 years. He sneered. You're always after my money. You're nothing but a gold digger. A gold digger? I gave up my career for you. I asked permission to buy toothpaste while you're throwing thousands at Linda's wedding. That's different. She's family. You're just. He stopped himself, but the damage was done. A few days later, Emma dropped a bombshell. Jennifer, something doesn't add up. Jimmy claims he can't afford a $50 dress, but I just heard he bought a $155,000 watch. What? I gasped. There's more, she added. Remember that big marketing campaign his company did? The budget was triple what he told you. At Linda's engagement party, Mark cornered me, drunk on Martinez. You know what's funny? He slurred. Jimmy Axe broke around you. Mark cornered me by the bar, his breath heavy with alcohol. Jimmy Axe broke around you, he slurred. But he's got more money than God. Those accounts in the Caymans, genius tax move. My pulse quickened. What accounts? Mark's eyes widened as the weight of his slip registered. Without another word, he stumbled away, leaving me frozen, clutching a truth I hadn't been meant to hear. That night, with Jimmy in the shower, I sat at his laptop, the device he'd forbidden me from touching. His password? Still Linda's birthday. Typical. What I uncovered made my blood turn to ice. Offshore accounts, hidden investments, falsified tax documents. The man who nitpicked my grocery receipts was hoarding millions. Jennifer? Jimmy's voice boomed from behind me. I slammed the laptop shut, heart racing. I was just checking the weather. I lied, forcing a smile. The next morning, divorce papers arrived. The reason? Financial irresponsibility and excessive spending. The irony would have been laughable if it wasn't so enraging. I'm divorcing her because she's bleeding me dry, I overheard Jimmy telling Robert. Constant demands for money, emotional blackmail. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel. Jimmy thought he destroyed me, but he just made his biggest mistake. He left me with nothing to lose. Look who I brought, Emma said, ushering a sharply dressed man into her boutique's back office. This is my brother, David Heun. He's a forensic accountant. David scanned the documents I'd secretly photographed. Your husband's not just hiding money, he's stealing it. These transactions. Classic embezzlement. Tears welled in my eyes, but I saved the real dramatics for Jimmy. Please, I begged that evening, can we talk about the divorce? I know I've been demanding. Jimmy smirked, convinced he'd won. At least you're finally admitting it. At Linda's wedding dress fitting, she gloated. It's about time Jimmy got rid of you. You never deserved him. You're right, Linda. I was so foolish, I sniffled, mentally cataloging every expense she mentioned for David's investigation. Later that night, Mark pulled me aside after a business dinner. I can't sleep at night, he whispered. What Jimmy's doing? It's worse than you know. He handed me a USB drive. Company records, transactions, everything. Jimmy promised us guaranteed returns. Catherine, one of Jimmy's clients, confessed when I tracked her down. Now our life savings are gone. He blamed market fluctuations. David's face hardened as he reviewed the USB files. Jennifer, Jimmy's been siphoning money from multiple accounts, including. He hesitated. What is it? Your father-in-law's retirement fund. I recalled Robert's proud speech about family loyalty. Meanwhile, Jimmy had drained his own father's savings. The Phoenix development, Mark revealed in another clandestine meeting. Total scam. The money went straight into Jimmy's offshore accounts. At least 15 investors lost everything. Emma helped me maintain the facade of the devastated wife. Just keep playing along, she advised. Let him think he's winning. I've been so blind, I told Jimmy over dinner, watching him gloat. You were right about everything. Well, I'm glad you're finally seeing reason, he replied, admiring his Rolex probably bought with his father's stolen money. The wedding's next week, Linda announced smugly. Try not to embarrass us, Jennifer. Little did they know, while they were busy selecting flowers and tasting cakes, David was compiling enough damning evidence to sink Jimmy's entire empire. Jimmy thought divorcing me would silence me. Instead, he'd given me the perfect opportunity to destroy him. At Linda's rehearsal dinner, I watched them laugh about my supposed gold-digging ways. They had no idea that in just a few days, their entire world would collapse. Sometimes, karma needs a little push, and I was ready to shove with everything I had. I now pronounce you husband and wife. The priest had barely finished when chaos erupted. FBI agents stormed into the pristine ceremony, their badges flashing under the afternoon sun. Jimmy Mitchell, we have a warrant for your arrest on charges of tax evasion and financial fraud. Linda's perfect Hamptons wedding unraveled in seconds. This must be a mistake, she shrieked, her white dress swishing as she stepped in front of the agents, arms outstretched. What's happening? Robert demanded, his face pale as he clutched his phone. Jimmy, why is my retirement account showing a zero balance? Mark stepped forward, his voice steady yet cold. The company's internal audit revealed significant discrepancies. Mr. Mitchell has been embezzling funds for years. All eyes turned to Jimmy, who was already in handcuffs. His gaze locked on me, furious. You did this, he hissed. You vindictive. Actually, his lawyer interjected during the arraignment days later. The initial tip came from multiple sources, including your own business partners. Within weeks, Jimmy's empire crumbled. The headlines were everywhere. Local business mogul indicted in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. I can't believe you lived in my house while planning this, Linda spat at me during one of the court proceedings. Like you lived in your brother's house while he stole your father's retirement? I shot back. Robert hadn't spoken to Jimmy since discovering his empty accounts. I defended you, he told him, his voice heavy with regret. I told Jennifer to be more like your mother. Now I see. I taught you to become your father, a thief and a fraud. Jennifer, please, Jimmy begged during one of his jail visits. His eyes were sunken, his arrogance shattered. I'm sorry. The dress, the control, everything. We can start over. I smiled, calm and collected, like I started over with my new marketing agency or my partnership with Emma's boutique. No thanks, I'm done asking permission to exist. The divorce settlement was sweet justice. Turns out, hiding assets during proceedings really irritates judges. Jimmy's attempts to shield his money only strengthened my case. Karma's something else. Emma mused as we toasted the agency's first major client, Jimmy's biggest former competitor. All because he wouldn't buy you a $50 dress, she laughed. I adjusted my designer blazer, bought with my own money. The dress was just the final straw. He never saw me as a partner, only a possession. Mark now runs the reformed company with a policy of full financial transparency. Linda's second wedding was modest. Her new husband, I heard, believes in joint checking accounts. Jimmy, he's still serving his sentence, sending tear-streaked letters I'll never read. Meanwhile, I was featured in Business Weekly for my innovative marketing strategies. The interviewer asked if I regretted giving up my career for marriage. Actually, I smiled. Losing everything showed me how much I could achieve. My office now overlooks the building where I once begged for grocery money. Every time I glance at that view, I'm reminded, hitting rock bottom means you have a solid foundation to rebuild. As for that $50 dress, I now have a closet full of them. Because these days the only permission I need is my home. What would you do if you discovered your spouse was secretly wealthy while making you beg for basic necessities? Would you expose them immediately or play the long game like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspectives. If this story resonated with you and you want to hear more about overcoming toxic relationships and reclaiming your power, hit that like button and subscribe. Your support helps us share more stories of triumph over abuse. Remember, sometimes the smallest things, like a $50 dress, can be the thread that unravels an entire web of lies.